All right. Thank you for joining us and a happy new year to everyone. In this week's video, I'm sharing with you some of the woodworking that I did behind the scenes over the past 3 videos. So the reason I didn't share them earlier is because they were gifts for people and I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
Surprise!
Surprise! So enjoy the video. I have quite a few different things that I was working on in this one. And have a safe and happy new year, and we'll catch you next year.
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye! I'm making pig-shaped cutting boards. So this one is one that I made with my grandfather when I was probably about 10 years old. So I'm using that one as a pattern. And the pieces of wood that I got, I can get 2 pigs out of 1 piece of wood, but they're going to be slightly shorter, fatter pigs because the wood is a little bit shorter than the original, but that's fine. This guy's a little skinny, so short, fat pigs I think actually look cuter. And for the square pieces, I'm making roosters. So these ones are 30 centimeter squares. So those ones will be roosters. The larger ones that I'm getting 2 pigs out of are 40 centimeter square boards. So that's what I'm working on. I don't have a bandsaw, so I'm using a coping saw, doing it old school. So here we go. Okay, so I just drilled a few holes there. One was for his eye, and then the other ones are so that I can easily turn the smaller blade to change direction. Same with here and here. I'm almost done. Look, I have like 1.5 centimeters to go.
Two and a half centimeters to go on the first one.
Yeah.
And you only have 7 more to go.
Yes. No. 8 more to go now.
There 9 total.
5 roosters, I think, and 4 pigs.
It's only 8 more to go.
Oh my god. My arm is dead. Alright, so the plan is to go by the outer edge that's a more gradual curve and see if I can get that cut out and deal with the tail feathers afterwards. Hopefully that's a little bit easier to work with now. We'll find out. The next thing I'm going to attempt is to do this one, and if it works well, then I can continue drilling out and making the feathers. So I think once I get that done, that should be the hardest part right there. Okay, so I drilled these 3 off camera. I had the masking tape on the front and the back, and I actually did it the same as the first one. So I drilled the center position out with the smaller bit, and then I went in with the bigger sized bit. I started from the front and from the back so that I wasn't punching through at the end, and it gave a much cleaner finish. So, and it made it a lot easier to cut. Okay, so I have one cutting board completely finished, and it's taking quite a lot longer than anticipated because my Ryobi orbital sander isn't holding on to the sanding discs. So, no, you're not helping. Come on, get down. No, don't step on stuff, please. Oh, come on. Now, where was I? I need to take my machine to the store in Alcabasa where we purchased it and get it repaired. In the meantime, I've been using an angle grinder with the sanding attachment. That is only good for the larger curved edges and rough sanding. So I've used it on a few things that required a rustic finish, like the cross wall hanging. But for cutting boards, I want a really nice smooth finish. So doing it old school, I have my sanding block. I find the quality of sandpaper is much better on the sanding discs. So I'm using the sanding discs from 120 grit all the way up to a 240 grit and just wrapping them around this. Okay, so I've sanded both sides to 600 grit. I only have two more to go, two more finer grits. So I have 1000 and 5000 to just really smooth it off. But before I do that, I need to bevel all of the edges. I've done one side already, so I think you can see the difference here. So this side is just the cut edge, and then this side is nicely rounded along the edge, just to take the edge off and make it nice and smooth. And it also helps to get rid of the little chips along the edge of the board. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Okay, so my next project is using the drill press that we bought with our regular drill. And I'm making candle holders for tea lights. So the depth that I'm trying to reach on this is halfway up the hole on the side of the drill bit. So that's why I keep stopping to check and see how close I am. So I find it easier to take a little bit at a time and just do it by hand instead of hitting it with the hammer. So this one is nice and clean. I'm going to repeat the process for these ones. Okay, so I hit the candle holder with the blowtorch and then sanded it down really well. And this is the end result. I think it turned out quite nice. Next, I'm working on these candle holders. This is eucalyptus wood, so some of the smaller beams from the original roof on our house. And it's a lot harder wood than pine, obviously. And I was having some issues trying to chisel out the hole for the tea light. need the attachment that looks like a paddle. The auger bit or whatever it's called. Because I'm never going to get these hollowed out. The pine is easy. These ones, not so much. I'm using my new bit to make the holes for my candle holders. What's this bit called again?
It's like an auger bit.
Need to like clamp it in there somehow. Yes, I had it wedged between my feet because I'm special. Not bad. I just have to...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I don't know if it's going to fit. Let's try it. Let's lay this down because it's just going to fall. Almost. I just need to clean out this a little bit.
We could use the other bit, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think that should pretty much do it. So there we are. All right, it is cold and rainy today, so I didn't feel like hanging out in my wood shop because it's a bit wet out there. Parts of the roof leak and there's no door, so the wind blows the rain in. So I decided to work inside today, and I wanted to decorate some candle holders, and I want to decorate them so that they are festive, but I also want to be able to use them year round so that they're not just a seasonal item. Come on, Drac. You're messing with my light. You're blocking half the camera. Come on. What are you doing? Okay, go behind the camera. Jeez. Okay, move this stuff back. All right, so I decided instead of decorating the actual candle, I would create a little festive collar that you can add to it, and the greenery is going to hold it to the correct position. So yeah, we'll see if this works. All right, so I've decorated the first two. And just starting on the last one now. So I'll set that aside. I'm just gluing the ribbon right at the edge of the cardboard. And I wasn't too worried about having a gap in between the two. Grant, I'm taking video.
You're horrible.
He's watching a movie and giggling, so don't mind the background noise. Guess I'm doing voiceover on this one. So I wasn't too worried about having a slight gap in between the two burgundy ribbons because I'm going back in with the more decorative ribbon and covering it up. Okay, and then where the ends of the ribbon join, I have been gluing greenery over top. I've just been using wire cutters. That should be good there. Okay, there we have a set of festive candles that can be I glued this one a little bit to the candle. There we go. Okay, so you can either use them year round as regular candles, or you can add their little festive collars and their Christmas candles. So I did a test one already to make sure it was going to work. Okay, so we have lots of clearance, which is good because the other bit is slightly larger than this one. And that should be the correct depth there. So now I need to switch drill bits, and it moved. So I should have done it the same as I did last time. Last time I started drilling with the auger bit just to get it started so that there was enough that it could grab onto something. Then I drilled to the depth with this one and cleaned it up with the auger bit again. And I thought it would be easier to go ahead and just switch out the bits once instead of twice. But I did not account for this not being long enough to grab onto the wood that I'm attempting to drill. So now it's literally just the clamp on the very corner of the candle holder that is holding it in place. Okay. The good news is I was able to save it by clamping the crap out of it, but the way I did it the first time off camera was actually easier. So when I do more of this style, I know that I just have to do an extra change out of the drill bit, and yeah, in trying to make it easier, I made it more difficult. So I've started drilling the top half of the heart for this one. And as you get closer to the bottom, you need to stop and clean this out more because the hole fills up with sawdust. Should be almost through. Yep. Maybe half a centimeter to go. There we go.
And that creates a nice clean cut for the top half of the heart. So now I just need to go in with the coping saw and cut a mostly straight line.
I do have a little bit of a ridge here to clean up with the sanding, but yeah, not as much as this one. So we'll see if I can get that cleaned up. All right, so we've cleaned that piece up a little bit, and the rest I'll do by hand. Okay, so I've burned them using the smaller propane torch that we have, and I've sanded them so they are ready to be oiled. I think they turned out pretty good. The next thing I'm working on is going to be a cross wall hanging. So I'm going to position the cutout of the cross kind of in this area because I created a divot when I was sanding, so I'll just get rid of that when I cut the pieces to create the cross. So that's what the finished piece will look like. And I'm just gonna secure it from the back by gluing some really thin strips of wood onto the back of it. So they are, I would say, 2 or 3 millimeters thick. It's just from squaring off some wood that I used for something else. Okay, I'm about to take the clamps and all of the tiles off of the cross to see if it worked. So far, so good. Nothing shifted. Oh. Ah, crap. Apparently she's not dry yet. Either that or it's just more stuck to the table than it is to itself. Let's see. Okay, let's move this. Okay, so most of it stayed intact, but of course one piece decided it didn't want to play nice. So I'm going to try and re-glue that. It might be too cold out here, so possibly need to move this in the house. All right, so yesterday I had a little bit of issues gluing this together. I finally got it all glued, so I've added 3 more of the pieces on the back for support. So I added these 2 pieces, so these 2, and then the shorter one here just to stabilize it better. And I re-glued the one that came out. So I just gave a light sanding to all of the edges, so inside the cross and along the sides of the piece. That probably would have been better to do before I put it all together, so next time I make one of these, I need to sand all of the edges before I assemble it. But we're ready to apply the stain now, and I'm using a tiny brush because I don't know where my bigger brush is, so I'm gonna have to buy some more paint brushes. But for now, I'm just gonna use the little one to apply some wood stain to this. I'll just do a little section here. So you can see that's going to bring the grain out really nice. And I'm pretty sure the person that I'm giving this to has light colored walls, so I want this to stand out a bit more. So I'm gonna apply the wood stain to this off camera, especially using a small brush. It's gonna take forever, and I'll show you the end result.